So my name's Alan Reid and I'm the Chair of the Disability Partnership and also Senior Manager of Disability First. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Mark Cutter.
We do need to encourage a little bit of changing of thinking. Not about attitudes necessarily, or about thinking of disabled people as vulnerable or as needing help, but as encouraging people to think in the 21st century that when we talk about what is a normal person, there's no such thing. Everybody's normal, and we need to see technologies designed and the world around us designed to make it so that everybody can make use of everything. And one of the reasons I'm so kind of engaged with this idea is I didn't know I was disabled until I was 21, which is a very interesting thing. I had to come out as disabled. And the reason for that is my parents didn't ever use that word. They didn't use the concept. They didn't see any adjustments for me whatsoever. And they forced is the wrong word, but raised me to be as, in inverted commas, normal as possible. So when I went through negative experiences at school, the only identifiers that I had, and words I would use, was, I've got bad legs, I cannot catch to save my life, I'm not coordinated, I've got a big thumb, and other such things, without having any context of either the underlying medical condition, cerebral palsy, or actually considering the use of the word disabled.
Can I just say a big thank you to Mark Cutter for standing in literally at the last minute and giving us a very informative keynote speech. Thank you very much, Mark. We're working at the moment with electoral services. We've worked with NHS Blackpool and the Care Act as well, and the Supported Employment Scheme. That's a very quick flavour. As you can imagine, over the 6-year period we've done quite a lot of work, but the work has been done by the partners, so we're not a tea and biscuits meeting, we're an actual doing. And obviously these statutory partners are now understanding where we're coming from and want to engage with us even more. So recent developments include an accessible Blackpool, as we're calling ourselves, subgroup. And what we've developed is, of the 4 main areas of disability, physical, sensory, learning and mental health, we've got representation and we've formed a subgroup that will work on different projects in Blackpool. So at the moment it's tourism and business, that's where we're starting, because we realise that we've got a large nut to crack, and although we want to change the world, we've got to start fairly small.
It's been very interesting. We've met a lot of interesting people and we've gathered a lot of information about the services that Tracy can access.
I just think today has been so successful in bringing people who perhaps wouldn't have thought that they needed advice and wouldn't have accessed that advice initially to come and have a look and see what there is on offer in Blackpool Wire and Fylde. It's lovely to see so many organisations coming out on a Saturday and so many people coming, even though it's been a glorious day outside, people coming and looking at the stands, at the information, but also at the positive things that people can do no matter what the circumstances.
There are so many services and organisations and groups that have come here today, and it does show you, when you see them all together, it does show you the diversity and the enormity of what is out there. Often you can feel a bit lost, I guess, and just think that you're doing what you're doing or you've got what you've got, but I think it can be quite inspirational just to see how much is out there.
It's really good that there's a show like this on in Blackpool. It's the first time that I've ever been aware of one. I have attended the ones at Warrington, which are really successful, the Disability Awareness Day, and I'd love to see this grow into a similar thing.
Blackpool has got a magnificent relationship with people because of what we've done in the past with tourism, the sea, the sand, etc. But now we are also getting that same sort of name with people who realise what we are doing in all fields of disability.
This is the first day in 18 months that I haven't been upset about my child's disability. I have 2 children, one with cerebral palsy and one with autism, and today was the best day I've had since they were born. It's opened a lot of doors, and now because of today my children get to go on open days, whereas they couldn't before, and my child starts nursery next week, of which he didn't before. I'm not embarrassed of my child's disability now.
What we have to say is how well organised it's been. The whole day has been so well put together. The public that have come through have commented on how interesting it is. There are people who've gone away knowing things that they didn't know before. There are exhibitors that are going away having met other exhibitors, so it's been an excellent venue for networking.
Great for networking.
And on top of that, we've both just had such a good time in the last half an hour stroking alpacas and hanging off climbing walls.
And for me, the useful part of the day has been around being able to network with other organisations, and the wide range of organisations that are around that I wasn't actually aware of, that were around. So from that point of view, from a professional point of view, it's been very useful.
For my purposes, I thought it was going to be a good event, and I thought it was something that we should invest in, and really it has been. It's been well organised, and I think it's reached people that we wouldn't have reached previously, and that to me is very important. What's your favourite bit?
Going on that, in that bin.
That's the soft play.
Going on that horse.
On the horse.
He's had an amazing day, hasn't you? He went on a horse, which he hasn't done before, and he went on a bouncy castle.
Yeah.
And what else did we do? We went on a funny bike, and we saw alpacas.
Yeah.
And today is the first day of the rest of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had to go on the climbing wall, and that was excellent, and it's great that people can come and have a go on things like that, because that's my first time. I've not been on one before, and it was brilliant. And I think it gives people a real boost in confidence to be able to try different things that perhaps they've never tried before and didn't know if they could do or not.
And the best thing I found about it was the circus.
There was a very special moment this afternoon when a father came to me and told me that her little daughter, she was 6 years old, a little girl called Chloe, who was always been frightened of animals, and she had to be gently coaxed to come and say hello to the alpacas. Before you knew it, she was on top of Huggy Bear, and all he could do was, "I can't believe it. I just cannot believe what has happened today." That her little daughter, his little daughter, who's always been fearful of animals, one moment met the alpacas and the pony, and she's a different child. That is something that he will always take home with him, and myself.
That you need more of them. You need it to happen more often. The paper is where I saw it, and you need a big article in the paper to give parents like me sort of the place to go to find out about your child's disabilities.
Would it be nice to see more businesses, I think, more sponsorship perhaps from equipment suppliers, especially the wheelchair and scooter suppliers and people like that. It'd be nice to get them involved next time.
The one thing that would spring to mind is perhaps in somehow broadening the awareness of the event to get even more people to see just what's out there. So one of the big challenges, I guess, and one of the things that we can learn is how we can all work together to make this event bigger and even better attended next year.
I think we could do with getting these organisations more involved with each other, because it's amazing what people can do when they set out to do it.
And I think it's been a wonderful opportunity to celebrate diversity and promote equality in terms of looking at the needs of differing groups.
It's really good. It's a way to learn, it's a way to update, it's a way to meet other people, and it's a way of finding things to do to improve your independence. So that's not half a bad thing.
It's a fabulous way to get to know about services, introduce yourself, and also to make yourself aware and other people aware of what's going on. So, bring it on.
And just to finish off, I would say that this event has been a huge success, and I look forward to coming on many, many occasions in the future. Congratulations to the event itself. Wonderful.
I work for Envision, what I like to think is a forward-thinking blind society in Blackpool, Far and Wire. It's very apt. My job title is a low vision worker, and I'm visually impaired. Someone thought of a good name there. 25 years ago, I was a normal young lad living in Hemel Hempstead. I was a mechanic. I did motor racing. I did football. I played squash for the county. I just bought a brand new car, and then I had 2 sporting accidents. Them sporting accidents left me in hospital on bed rest for 3 months with patches over both my eyes. I was wondering what was going to happen when my patches come off. When the consultant finally did take the patches off, he told me there's nothing he could do for me and see a social worker. The social worker just said, you can get a rail pass, a bus pass, and off you go. And that was it in them days. There was no Envision around in them days, because there was a lot of dark days at my house where I was living with my mum and dad. I was staying in bed thinking I couldn't do nothing. Depression kept getting worse. My friends didn't know what to talk to me about. After that, I became a manager at Russell School, a private school. There I was the maintenance manager in grounds and gardens. So I spent another 7 years there and learnt a lot more, and people learnt about me and learnt about visual impairment, because so many people were so scared to say things to me. But there I had a lot of young lads who just took the mick out of me. Sometimes a sense of humour is just what you need. From then on, I went to Envision. I've been there about 3 years now. I've got a great manager, Judith Harrison. She ties me down sometimes because she don't like me speaking too much, I think. But she does, or she has nurtured me along, and it gives me a chance to realise some of my dreams. Just a little example is we've got a green line now going from the tram and bus stops all the way to the Envision door, so visually impaired people can find their way. So that's been a good thing, and a big thanks to Blackpool Council and the Disability Partnerships for helping on that. One final thing, I think as a disabled person and visually impaired, I feel like I have a responsibility to inspire and be an ambassador for people to help them along their journey. Something I'm quite passionate about, and I will carry on doing it. And that's it, thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you. This next chap, I think most people in this room know, but it'd be interesting to hear Stephen, because he can certainly tell a story, and I think it would be worth us now introducing Mr. Stephen Brooks to tell us about some of the ups and downs in his life.
Thanks, Alan. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I suppose quite a few of you do know me by vision and certain elements of the work. But the interesting thing is that my technical disability started very much like Peter's did, Peter Callow's. In 1997, I was sat at a set of traffic lights in my home city of Coventry, and a van doing 75 miles an hour tried to drive through the back of my car and out the other side. Unfortunately, it was a new kind of car with the very early stages of electronic heating in the seat, the metalwork in the heating element, and the direct impact caused a major problem. I've got 3 cervical fractures and 4 lumbar fractures. Now, when I went to the hospital and the surgeons looked at the x-rays, the first words that I was told when I was lying on the bed was, "Mr. Brooks, you're now disabled." I thought, this is not going to be a good time of my life. So I went to university. I needed something to do. So in '99, after a very bad year and a bit, I started a political communication degree. And for somebody dyslexic to come out with a communications degree with a first class honours was quite good. I was fairly pleased. And since then, and during that period, I stuck my head right into the goo and got involved in a lot of disability work. I never thought that disabled people, older people and mature students ever had work access opportunities. Well, actually, yes, I did. As a mature student, I ended up working for Tessa Jowell, then the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport. And in fact, I was sat with her in her office when the Twin Towers came down. That was a big, big day. But at that stage, I was working with 2 crutches and travelling from Coventry to London, rush hour, and walking across Trafalgar Square. And it was very strange because people sort of found it very odd. I was almost, obviously I'd got some sort of contagious disease. People walked away from me and didn't get near me in case I tripped them up. As Mark said, you know, the stick can be an immensely dangerous weapon, you know, obviously. And that, of course, is also a very important point, because a lot of the work I have done, I thought would come to an end when I got my degree and that was it. But I moved up to Blackpool with my wife, and since then I spent most of the time travelling on trains down to London. Complaining is something we have to do as disabled people because it happens to us. But turning a negative into a positive is what we need to do. And that's why I'm pleased with the work we do with Mark and with Denise and with Alan on hate crime as well. We turn negatives into a positive. That's my experiences, turning it round. Have a good day.
I'm going to invite onto the stage Dr. Mark Johnston from Blackpool Clinical Commissioning Group.
So this is the vision for Blackpool. It's very closely aligned with the wellbeing board strategy about a healthier, happier Blackpool. Okay, and we have a 5-year plan, and the key around this is integrating services, because at the minute, even within healthcare, we've got primary care, we've got secondary care, we've got the bit in between, intermediate care, we've got aftercare, we've got social care, we've got voluntary sector, and the way people operate, both from a commissioning and a provision point of view, is they operate in silos. And for anybody that's been in the hospital recently, or at any time you remember, you'll see 5 doctors and you'll have to tell the same story 5 times. And that isn't right. You've told it once, you've told your story, they should be able to talk together. So even within an environment such as a hospital, we struggle to transfer information and knowledge in a way that the patient would automatically expect.
I'm going to introduce you from Lancashire Care Foundation Trust, Patricia Haynes and Sue Curry, who are going to give a presentation to us about the Harbour. So I'll pass you over.
As you know, the Harbour opened in March of this year. It's a 10, if you don't mind going on with the slides. That's basically the layout of it. There's 10 wards in groups of 2. For those of you that don't know, we have the Lancashire Dementia Services there. We have advanced care wards, functional male, functional female, and 2 psychiatric intensive care units. when we considered the layout, what we tried to do was make sure that all of the wards, with the exceptions of the PQs, actually faced onto the fields, so the view from rooms and from open spaces was actually onto the fields to increase the sense of space and light. And we considered that the dementia wards and the advanced care wards needed to be quite close to where the reception area was in terms of potential mobility problems and the logistics of actually coming on and off the ward. The actual corridor that all the wards come off is just over a quarter of a mile long. So it's quite a trek.
So the next item on the agenda after the lunch is the MP's question time session. And to the right of me, we have the MP. We have to the right of me, the MP for Blackpool North and Cleveland, Paul Maynard. And to the left of me, we have Gordon Marsden, who's the MP for Blackpool South. And I'm stuck in the middle. For those of you that don't know the background to this, we have over a number of years had MP question time sessions with both Gordon and Paul, and they've been very productive, and we've had some outcomes from that as well in terms of both MPs representing the issues that people face in Blackpool and taking things forward. So there's been lots of positives from this. So from today, as we've traditionally done, we've asked people to submit questions in advance so the MPs can do the homework, and then we can ask the questions. We will be taking any comments from the floor. If people want to make a comment, just put your hand up. Thank you very much. Once again, a big thank you to Paul and Gordon. Thank you. Certainly from my perspective, as the Disability Partnership Chair, I think today has been a huge success. It's been great to hear what people have been saying in different areas of disability, and it's just been great as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of summarising, we need to think about the practical actions, and I know there's been already an offer for presentation at the Disability Partnership on the Care Act. In terms of best practice, there's been discussions around the table on different levels of best practice, so the positive elements of disability and how you can get, as we know from Stephen and from other people, getting involved in public bodies, one of the key things.
Now, you can't get away with this, Alan, because the final applause really should be for you, because this event wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you and the team at Disability First. I know many other people will share this, but from my perspective from the council, this has been an absolutely cracking day. It wouldn't have happened without you and the role that you perform. I know from talking to you and helping over the organisation over the last few months that today's ran smoothly, but there's been hiccups and issues along the way, especially earlier this week when we found out our keynote speaker wasn't missing, but we've also had issues of all sorts of complexity involved in disability involved in this. So a massive thank you. We hope that this is the first of many disability summits, and that we've got something on the agenda here for Blackpool, because we know, we've talked about this today, but it's about continuing the fight, having tenacity, having our ability to never say no, never say die, and carry on the fight. So that's what we intend to do through the Disability Partnership and Blackpool Council, and we hope you intend to do that as well. I'm sure you do. So we'll see you again next year. Thank you.